Alright guys, it looks like map number 2 is going to be Ohana between Snuffer and Rotan, who currently leads 1-0 over his opponent, who is a regular in the group stages of DreamHack. So let's see what he can do in this particular game, because we have just loaded in. Let's get started. Spawning here in the top left position of the map, ladies and gentlemen, as my mouse decides to go haywire just for a second there, we have, from Team Prop, none other than Snuffer. And he was feeling pretty confident going into this matchup. He was saying how he was going to be the one to take down the Koreans and stuff like that, maybe a little jokingly, but it certainly implied he had a lot of confidence against his opponent, who is the Blue Zerg, and finding himself in a position where he is actually up one game. So will he be able to close it out 2-0 and knock his opponent straight out of this ESET UK Masters qualifier? Or will he be dragged back into it 1-0? We'll find out in just a moment, guys. This is Rotan. So, relatively exciting ZVZ so far, in the sense that we saw an awful lot of Zerglings and Banelings in game number 1, and there was a possibility with good control that Snuffer might have been able to win that one. I mean, I think everyone in chat would probably agree that those 5 or 6 Banelings sort of hanging around at the end of the first engagement, if they were sent into mineral lines and did a lot of drone damage, for example, might have turned that game around. We're never going to know right now. But it certainly wasn't a failed bust, because he did actually get in. It just, unfortunately, the follow-up wasn't what he was looking for. And as a result, Rotan does take that game number 1 victory. In the meantime, here in game number 2, though, pools first, coming down from both players. No gas before pool from either side, so no uber-quick Zergling speeds or anything like that. Things are looking fairly normal. And it looks like we're probably going to be seeing a hatchery out of Rotan. Yep, so pool into hatch. Very, very normal here. Nothing too out of the ordinary at all. And we even have, it looks like he squeezed an extra drone out. Let's just double check. No. So 16 versus 16, now going down to 15. So it's actually Rotan that managed to squeeze out the extra drone in the middle of that. So pretty cool stuff. Overlord, though, will be popping out just a little earlier for Rotan, interestingly. Oh, pardon me. No, just a little early for Snuffer, who actually has his already complete. My bad. My apologies. We have now got the extractor coming down from Snuffer, so he's favored grabbing that just a little bit earlier. Potential to go earlier game aggression. Maybe even go into a quick Roach Warren if he decides he has the fancy. This could end up being an earlier layer as well. That gas just allows you to do so much with your tech. And he is now getting his Overlords into position, hopefully, before the Queens get there. This one in particular needs to be a little bit careful, because the Queens are going to be popping soon in the base of Rotan. And Snuff does not want to have to suffer from losing an Overlord this early in the game, hence towards an actual expansion where there's no creep, but there will be creep in just a bow. In the meantime, it looks like this Queen's actually going to be moving out off of creep, and as a result, only a single Zergling gets killed when Snuffer sends 2 Lings into the main base of Rotan. That allows him to get a full scud off, just making sure there's no gas here, by the way, which it heads poking in on both sides. And we have a Queen trying to kill off an Overlord, but Snuffer very, very wary there, able to get it away in time. We now have 2 Lings of his own coming in is Rotan. One of them is going to go down to the Queens. In fact, both of them are likely to go down to the Queens here. But he sees that a single gas is mining. So he knows that his opponent has more gas than he does. But he is saying, no worries, mate. I'm completely fine with that. I'm going to be going double gas myself and then going straight into the Roach Warren. So this seems to be Rotan's preferred style of play. And let's be honest, it held the aggression in game number 1. So let's see if he's able to hold it in game 2. He must be feeling fairly confident with this build if that just won him the first game, of course. And we might potentially have more of the same coming out here from Snuffer, because a Baneliness has gone down. But we also have an Evo chamber. So that, to me, suggests that he wants to use some of his gas on those upgrades, which would probably mean that he's not going to attempt to go super all-in right now off of this. And whoa, that's a lot of... What? The top 3 control, sadly, ladies and gentlemen. We're having a bit of a moment here of Snuffer, while he just sent every single one of his drones at his main base to mine gas. Although that only happened for a moment. He's now back. Is probably not too much lost in the long term. but definitely not something you wanted to do there, especially if you were relying on a timing or something like that. But I don't think so, because at the very least he's going to be waiting for +1. He's actually getting +1 missile attacks. So Snuff is going to be starting his own Roach War, and he's not going for any sort of Zergling, Baneling early game on this particular map. He just wants to go with those Roaches, get his layer up, get Glial Reconstitution, and see what happens from there by the looks of things. And this could be a good choice. I mean, Rotan doesn't have his layer started yet, but he does have more Roaches out on the map, of course, which means Snuff is going to have to defend against this push. Let's see if he's able to do so. No Spine Crawlers, interestingly enough. And, oh no, this might actually be a bit much. He has got the +1 missile attacks. The layer is on the way. The Roach Warren is on the way. Good surround by some of those drones on a couple of those Roaches, but really Snuffer looking like he's in a little bit of a pickle at the moment. He is up 46 to 34 workers, so he is able to sacrifice a couple of those for the greater good. But will it be enough? 18 Lings about to pop out now. There are 5 Roaches here. Do we have a second Queen moving down the ramp to participate? We do not. She's actually still up here. And another surround by the drones on the Roaches, trying to prevent them from running away. Good drone drill, trying to prevent Rotan there from targeting individual drones. And it looks like this is... Oh, the Roaches might get cleaned up, but the Lings are now coming in to follow up. And Snuffer is having a huge problem here. Was his +1 missile attack and quick layer just a little bit too greedy, because he just didn't have the required number of units? When this attack came in, the number of workers killed is now 16 and counting, so Rotan has definitely made his money's worth with this attack now. Good switch into Lings. Before, when it was just the Roaches, it looked like Snuffer would be able to hold off the attack, but then Rotan saying, you know what, I'm just going to switch it up now and give you a taste of your own medicine. Here are some Lings to work with, and I think that's going to get him the game. That's right, so Snuffer getting beaten out of the tournament, ladies and gentlemen, by Rotan. Well, wow, I'm going to be honest, I did not predict that going into that matchup. I thought Snuffer is a relatively solid player, and I'm a little bit surprised he went down so easily, to be honest. In game number 1, we saw that failed Baneling attack with, sadly, a little bit of subpar micro on those Banelings, but the potential to make it work there would have been interesting to see what would have happened had he controlled them a little more effectively. But game number 2, he really did get caught with his pants down there. He went for the quick layer, built some Lings, thought it would be enough for defense, didn't really scout what his opponent was sending at him, and I think that might have been the key there. And relied on that while he got the +1 missile attacks, the layer, looking for that Glial Reconstitution so he can start on Roaches that were superior to his opponents. But before the layer even completed, the attack started coming in, and Rotan, therefore, ladies and gentlemen, takes a 2-0 victory over Props Snuffer. So he will be moving on here in the bracket. This is, of course, the ESET UK Masters Qualifier number 1. Don't go anywhere, guys. We will be just taking a quick look at the brackets here. So let's move on to the page and give it a quick refresh just to see where people have gone to. And by the looks of things, guys, we have a massive upset here because Hob has taken out Sage 2-0. I wonder if that was a walkover, and I only say that because I think Sage can take at least a map off of any player in this bracket. But if not, then that's still very, very well done to Hob, who advances to play Underdark in the round of 16. So that'd be pretty cool. In the meantime, we have Lau down there taking out Delphi 2-0 and Strelok taking out Jimmy to set up a round of 16 encounter. That's going to be huge as well. Moving down a little bit, we have A-Bomb versus Fast Fake. And that will decide who faces off against Dimaga, ladies and gentlemen. And then Zaka will be facing off against Mini Razors. So a lot of good players down here. We have, it looks like Pult was possibly a no-show. Selecta getting a 2-0 win over him and being seeded now against Stardust Light, who defeated Zicto Mini 2-0. So that is pretty impressive stuff. And of course, we just saw the result of Rotan versus Prop Snuffer. Rotan taking out Nazmaj as well, so a very, very solid display from him today. Bly versus Crusher, and to round off at the bottom, we have Runa going up against Bishu. So all pretty darn good matches at the moment. Guys, we'll be going into our next game straight after a commercial break, so don't go anywhere. In about 2 minutes' time, hopefully, we'll have another game for you. Don't go anywhere.